What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Just Saying podcast, episode 28. I'm Jairus, and as always, I have my co-host Shay with me, as always, and he's going to break down the episode for you right now.
That's right. I am Shay, and we have a great episode today. First, people, a new Superman trailer dropped. So we're going to discuss that because we just watched it before recording. And then we're going right in to the sports. You know, all the sports. Pickleball, tennis, racquetball, golf, pool, darts,
Bowling.
None of the major sports. We're going into the indie scene. No, I'm just kidding. Sports news. Then we're wrapping up. Or after sports news. Sorry, we have NASCAR because they had their All-Star race. Then we're going over the NFL schedule release.
Only 16 more weeks until the regular season.
Man, it feels good to be alive. And the owner meetings are going on right now as of this recording. And finally, to wrap it all up, the playoffs. NBA, PWHL, and the NHL, they are still in full swing.
That's right. We are recording this episode on May 20th.
2025.
All future reference. So, without further ado, the new Superman trailer. Now, aside from the teaser that we reacted to weeks ago,
months ago.
yeah, at this point, I'm very excited. Releases July 11th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the same ballpark as Fantastic Four First Steps, so that could be very interesting there. A little competition.
Yeah, a week or two before, yeah.
Yeah. The trailer didn't differ that much from the teaser. We got a little bit more action scenes, I think, and we start to figure out a little bit of the premises as Lois Lane is interviewing Clark Kent as Superman, and he's coming under fire for essentially dropping into a war on a different part of the planet and essentially stopping it and saving a bunch of lives. But this raises a lot of questions, breaking probably international laws and diplomacy.
Yeah.
So we figure out like what that scene was from the teaser, the little kid raising the flag. It's a war that's going on in a different part of the earth. And, Superman being Superman, wanting to do good and help. He stops the war, but it causes a lot of controversy. So, Shay, what happens after that? Any characters you saw that, got a little bit more screen time? A little bit of a refresher for the audience here.
Yeah. To piggyback off of what we just talked about to start the trailer, I like the dialogue between Lois and her interviewing Clark as Superman. I like that this movie is not just an origin story. It's picking up in Superman's, I don't know, maybe second or third year as being Superman. So we don't need another origin story, which is kind of all superhero movies right now. So that's really nice. So after that, we get to see a lot of Lex Luthor during the trailer. A lot of Lex. I am almost hesitant to say he is the main protagonist of the film. I think he's the overarching villain to lead into the next film. But for this one, I don't certainly know. I'm not going to say for sure he is, but obviously he's Superman's, arch rival from the comics. But we saw the Green Lantern played by Nathan Fillion, who's not like Hal Jordan or John Stewart or anything, but a different Green Lantern. We saw Hawkgirl. We saw Mr. Terrific again. So a lot of different characters. We saw Superman punch a kaiju. We saw a lot more of Crypto, which is exciting. Can't wait to see Crypto on the big screen and see how he interacts with everybody in the world around him and Superman. Yeah, so it was exciting. For me, from this trailer, just like the teaser a few months ago, it gave off a lot of hope vibes. That's Superman's whole thing. Like, it's hope. He is hope. So it's definitely for me feeling like that. And I, especially now after this trailer, I think James Gunn and DC are swinging for the fences here. There's a lot in this. It looks very clean. It doesn't look rough at all. It looks very, very good, visually speaking. Um, so I'm excited, and if this does very well, which I think it will, if this does very well, then this kickstarts the entire DC universe. There's a lot, as we said before, there's a lot riding on just this movie alone. Um, so I think it's going to be successful. This trailer only got me more excited for it. And hey, like we said last week or the week before, if Marvel fumbles here at the finish line, DC is primed to take over.
Yeah, this is a big moment for the DC universe and James Gunn for sure. Agree with everything that you said. The trailer, while it does have a lot of elements in it, I think the trailer, just like the teaser a few months ago, did a really good job of showing everybody and giving them just the right amount of time to show you like what to expect without giving a lot away.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my favorite scenes in this trailer that was not in the teaser was when Superman falls from the sky into the street and there's a lot of people watching and just a random guy helps him up.
Yep.
And to me, it shows like, Superman, he's this all powerful alien, has all these powers, symbolizes hope, symbolizes humanity.
Yep.
And even with all of that, he is still a person. He still needs help when he falls. And I thought that was fantastic. We see him talking to his Earth father that adopted him or found him, giving him advice.
Yeah.
And he's a full grown adult, and it's like, man, he's an alien with all these powers. Why does he need advice from his dad? Like, he can do anything. So, but at the end of the day, like, he's still human, even as an alien, all powerful. So I thought that was really nice. That was one of my favorite scenes in the entire trailer.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Also, my opinion, I mean, we've said this a lot before too. Henry Cavill is Superman. I mean, he was Superman. But especially after this trailer, now we got to hear him talk more and talk with Lois more and see him a lot more. David Cornsweet, he looks the part to me. He really does.
I thought the exact same thing from the moment the trailer began with the actress that also plays Lois Lane. I'm like, wow, they look exactly like Lois Lane and Clark Kent, like as I would imagine them on the big screen.
Yeah, so that eases my worries a little bit with trying to replace Henry Cavill, because for me personally, and Andreas too, he loves Henry Cavill. Those are big shoes to fill. So I'm excited. I think he's going to do great. He does look great. I think he talks like Superman too. So I'm excited for this. I really can't wait.
Yeah, and aside from that, obviously we see a lot of different characters, including a Green Lantern, which I'm really excited for as well. But yeah, drops July 11th in theaters. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be so cool to see that movie and Fantastic Four in the same month.
Yeah.
Because as we mentioned last week when we reviewed the Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four is going to be like the next big step.
Yep.
For Marvel. So
yeah, exactly.
So there's a lot of very pivotal movies that are coming out, along with a lot of other good ones. So if you watched the trailer, let us know what you thought in the comments. What was your reaction? Do you feel good or bad about the trailer? How do you think it's gonna do? And let us know if you plan on seeing the movie.
Yeah, please. We wanna hear it.
But yeah, with that, we're going to move on to sports news from around the world.
All around the world.
No, just the United States, because we don't talk about cricket, tennis,
Although the World Cup is next year, so but it takes place in North America.
That is true, and I will be watching it this go around.
But yeah, starting off horse racing again. What? Are we turning into a horse racing podcast?
We're expanding. We're expanding out of the 4 major sports.
We are. It was the Preakness Stakes this past weekend, and Journalism, who was the favorite for the Kentucky Derby, did win the Preakness Stakes, but oh my God, was it an instant classic. Unbelievable race for him to come from behind and literally win it within the final seconds. Just unreal.
Yeah, crazy race. As the guy that gave us the tour at Churchill Downs when I went to Louisville, Kentucky, to visit my friend, shout out to Parker Bachnick. He said, horse racing is the best 2 minutes and 30 seconds of sports.
Yeah. That's what it was for Preakness. That I didn't watch it live, but they played the whole race, the whole lap online, and oh my God, it chills, just chills. So congratulations to Journalism and the horse's owner and the jockey that rode him. Yeah, just an instant classic. Oh, still gives me chills.
Now, is there the one more race like you mentioned, like
the
Triple Crown?
The next one's the Belmont Stakes.
All right, so we'll see if we recap that as well.
Maybe.
You just never know, or we might switch to cricket.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. Up next, the Red Sox reveal their new City Connect jerseys. Pays homage to the Green Monster.
Yeah,
Shane, would you care to explain?
I put this in here because it's my team. They're beautiful. I love their previous City Connect jerseys, the yellow and blue, because it paid homage to the Boston Marathon and the city of Boston and the Boston Marathon bombings years ago. So love those and the symbolism with that. But this one I absolutely love. It is all about Fenway and the Green Monster. The colors are the same exact color of the Green Monster. The numbers and the numbers on the jersey they imitate the hand painted numbers, the signs on the Green Monster. They have even the little notches where they hang up on the Green Monster. Wow. They just have all these different things throughout the jersey and the uniform to shout out the Green Monster. I love it. I would love to get one day, but they are very expensive, $175. So we'll see.
Yeah, so very detailed jersey, very precisely crafted. Very nice.
Yeah, exactly. I freaking love these City Connect jerseys. I can't wait to see the NFLs this year.
That's right. And pretty soon there might be a little jersey tier list video if we have time. That is.
Moving on. Hey, the WNBA season just started. Holy shit. It's here. Caitlin Clark is back, and she's back. Caitlin Clark and the Fever destroyed Angel Reese and Chicago. With Caitlin, I think they won by like 30, I believe was the final score. Caitlin Clark does Caitlin Clark things and opens the first game of the season with going 20-10-10. So triple double. And I saw a stat today. She just started her second season and she owns 20% of all the triple doubles in the WNBA history already.
Holy shit. That's mind blowing. Wow.
She's pretty good.
I would say so. And also, look out too, because the first overall pick in the WNBA draft, Paige Bucksey Buchers from the Yukon Huskies, is on Dallas, I believe.
I think so.
So maybe a exciting young talent coming into the WNBA.
Yeah.
So yeah, we might pay attention to WNBA, maybe recap it here and there.
Yeah.
Try to watch a few games.
We're Caitlin Clark fans here, so she's the best.
That's right. So moving on, A little bit of news, which I wonder if this happens like very often because it seems like over the last like few months here, there's been a few incidents. But Phillies reliever Jose
Alvarado.
Alvarado.
Oh my.
Jose Alvarado is suspended 80 games by the MLB for violating the performance enhancement drug policy.
Yeah, not good. One of their
Never good.
One of their better relievers for sure. Can't cheat. Sorry, can't do it.
Yeah, and it just seems like we've seen a little bit more frequency of these incidents.
Yeah.
I think it was one player on the Braves last season before the playoffs. So yeah, don't do drugs, kids, is what we're trying to say. Can't take any shortcuts.
Exactly. Moving on to NASCAR. NASCAR was this past weekend. It was the All-Star race. We said it last week. It's not really anything to cheer for.
So they change the format every year.
Yeah.
So like we don't even know. We didn't really research it or anything.
No. Christopher Bell did win though. Matter. So congratulations to him because he is now $1 million richer. So big congratulations.
Hopefully nobody drove like Nikita Kucherov played in the All-Star game in the NHL.
Yeah, exactly. Though this upcoming weekend is the weekend if you're a motorsports fan. Every year, this is for sure one of my favorite weekends if I'm able to watch any of it. But it is Crown Jewel Sunday this weekend. In Formula One, they will be in Monaco. The Indy 500 is also this weekend with a record-breaking, just announced today, record-breaking sellout crowd for this Sunday of over 350,000 people.
God damn!
That's a lot of people. And also NASCAR's longest race of the year by mileage, the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte. And Kyle Larson, he's doing it again, baby. He is running the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. Hopefully this time weather does not delay him trying to do both or prevent him from doing both like what happened last year. But man, if he's able to do both, I'm so excited for him. If anyone can win both races, it's him. Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't know if we talked about last week, but I didn't realize how young he still is. And he's already like moved up to quite up the all-time wins list.
Yep. Exactly.
He's still got a lot left to go in his career.
Oh yeah.
And that's really impressive. And I kind of like how they did it. I don't know if they do it every year with the schedule wise, but having the race, having the all-star race, maybe a little bit of a break, and then this big racing weekend right after, I think is really smart.
I don't think the all-star race is the same every year. But this Crown Jewel weekend or Sunday for all three of the major motorsports happens every year. The same day.
Yeah. So I thought that was like a good decision, I guess.
Yeah.
To have like the all-star race, maybe hype up the weekend a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're really excited, and we'll be sure to recap all of that because racing will be back after a week break.
That's right.
And we'll have a lot to talk about. Moving on to football, because it is only 16 weeks until the regular season.
That's right.
Until fantasy football, which will be my second year, and Shay's 6th year.
No.
Or you've been doing it a while.
A long time.
Yeah.
I gotta think for a sec. Probably like year 16 or 17.
What about like with your current league? Has it only been
this current league? It's probably year 8.
Yeah, and you have never won the title as commissioner
ever. Well, I've never won. So almost 20 years, I've never won.
Damn, it's like the Cowboys.
Yeah, but they still have 5 Super Bowls through them. I don't have a single championship.
True, but all right. Anyways, yeah. So getting ready for football, but we have NFL schedule release. It's here, the 2025 NFL schedule. The Kansas City Chiefs, starting off, have the most primetime games with 7.
Not surprised, really.
Yep, followed by the Eagles with 6. Not surprising. The Bengals have 4, and the Jaguars have 1, which I'm very surprised they have 1.
Yeah, agreed.
Maybe the addition of Travis Hunter convinced them to give him that.
Maybe.
But yeah, so primetime games, the brightest lights, and who is it? Danny, or why am I blanking on his name? The guy that left the New York Giants got cut.
Oh, Daniel Jones?
Yeah, Daniel Jones. Isn't he like never won a primetime game ever?
Yeah,
as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good thing he probably won't be the starter in Indianapolis. So he won't even have that.
Probably,
chance.
Yeah. Probably.
But yeah, in terms of travel, the LA Chargers will travel more miles this season than any other team in NFL history, with 37,086 miles. The
That's
Bengals actually will be the least traveled team with only 8,753 miles covered during the season. And you told me that they don't go out west once.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unusual.
It is. They're not going out west at all. And they stick around the Ohio Valley region for most of the season. They stick right around Ohio for most of the year.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I do know that the Jaguars go to Cincinnati to play the Bengals again.
Mm-hmm.
So I might head on up there and catch myself a game in the jungle, which would be really cool.
Yeah.
But we also got the international games, which is a big deal every year in football. So
especially this year with new markets.
Yeah. So in total, there are 7. I think that's the most international games they've had. Friday, September 5th in Sao Paulo,
Brazil.
The Chiefs take on the Chargers. And then in Dublin, Ireland on Sunday, September 28th, the Vikings against the Steelers at Croke Park. And then the Vikings head over to London October 5th on a Sunday to face the Cleveland Browns at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London.
Okay.
I wonder if I said that right. And then in London as well, you got to give them the Jags. Why?
That's
you still got a torch. I mean,
that's London's team.
It's better than what they had last year.
Well,
with the Jaguars and Giants.
True.
So yeah, the second international game in London, Sunday, October 19th, at the same stadium between the Jaguars and the Los Angeles Rams. So hopefully that makes for a better game. And then in Berlin, the Atlanta Falcons take on the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday, November 9th at Olympia Stadium. And then the final international game is going to be played in Madrid, Spain.
Madrid.
Yeah. Is that what I said?
You said Madrid.
Oh, Madrid. Madrid, Spain, between the Washington Commanders and the Miami Dolphins, Sunday, November 16th at Bernabeu Stadium.
Yeah, this year the NFL is really expanding. 2 new locations in Ireland and Spain. As you said, 7 total international games for the season. That is the most they've ever done. So NFL is being very aggressive here and expanding, and I like it. I'm all about it.
Yeah, grow the game in any way you can.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Any other reactions from schedules?
I just love this time of year because, especially within the last 3 years, the social media teams that put the schedule release videos together are
they do a fantastic job.
I mean, peak. Just peak. This year, there's some great ones. The Chargers did their whole schedule release in Minecraft, which is awesome. They trolled the Raiders hard too, which is awesome. They had a little QR code that appeared for just a second, like one frame, but if you scanned it, it went to like the Chargers website, and it was like a refresh page, and it kept saying like, "Oh, welcome Raiders fans. This is the day and the time for your game against the Chargers." And then you would refresh like, "Oh, sorry, we're refreshing here." Refresh again, and the keep going and going. It went for like 15 refreshes, and then it finally just came up with a big bold black L.
Oh jeez. Oh my goodness.
So funny. The Titans, like they did a couple years ago, asking fans on the street who they're playing, and that's a classic video. This year they did almost like a medication prescription ad for their schedule release, and it's hilarious. The Eagles, they really tamed it back. They just, in the trailer, it said in conjunction or collaboration with the Philadelphia Philharmonic Orchestra, playing Ride of the Valkyries. If you don't know what that is, you don't know music. Sorry. Ride of the Valkyries.
You'd be living under a rock.
Yeah. Just video of slowly rotating the Lombardi Trophy, and then that was it. And then just listed the schedule. That was it. Nothing fancy. If you're Super Bowl champions, you can do that. It's one of my favorite times just to see all the hilarious videos. So it's awesome.
So pumped. Just 16 weeks. That's it.
16 weeks.
That's it. 4 months.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Bengals can make the playoffs. But yeah, so we're going to take our break now. And when we come back, we're going to get into the playoffs, because that's what it is this time of year, is the playoffs. For all the sports, the NBA, the NHL, and the Professional Women's Hockey League. So don't go anywhere. We will see y'all very soon. Welcome back, everyone, to this lovely podcast. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget, hit that like button, because that really helps out the videos.
Mm-hmm.
And if you enjoyed the podcast so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button, any color, to not miss out on future content, and follow all of our socials, obviously, as always. But moving on, we're going to get to the main part of this podcast, as always, for the last few weeks, the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, it is playoff season as it continues to go. Like we said, it's the NBA, the PWHL, and the NHL all going on at the same time. So there's a lot to cover, a lot to talk about, a lot of things to get through. So let's get right into the NBA playoffs.
That's right. The conference finals is set. 8 teams in the second round after 16 teams challenged in the first round. And now there's only 4 teams that remain.
That's right.
For the Larry O'Brien Trophy. We're going to recap, obviously, every series, continuing off where we left off last week in the second round.
Yep.
Starting off with the Cavs and the Pacers. The Pacers finish off Cleveland in Game 5, 114-105, to win the series 4-1 against the number 1 seed in the East and move on to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. Pretty
shocked.
I'm pretty surprised that the Cavs did not look like the Cavs during this series. Like we talked about last week, I'm not that surprised that they choked in the playoffs, but to choke that bad, I would say, is that's not good.
Yeah, Game 2, they were out a lot of players. Donovan Mitchell, I don't know if he was still injured, but he was questionable for Game 5. So I don't know if he played through an injury. But yeah, if you had told me one of Cavs and the Celtics were not going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, I would have said, okay. Like, I could see that. But both? both number 1 and number 2, including the defending champs, yeah, that is shocking.
Yeah.
So for the Cavs, what do the Cavs need to do to get over the hump in the playoffs?
I don't know. Their game just for the last few years now clearly isn't translating from the regular season over into the playoffs. So I don't know what that means. And they did this with a new coach too. So it's not like, oh, now they need to go get a new coach because this guy's been around for a while. Like, no, they did this with a new coach. So I don't know what they need to do, honestly. They have the pieces there. They have the stars there. Donovan Mitchell's a superstar, but their regular season just does not translate into the playoffs. Just doesn't happen.
And that could be like the hardest position to be in sports, where you're that close, but it's like, what do you do? Like, you have to make those small tweaks to get over the hump.
Yeah.
You could overcorrect and wreck the entire thing.
Yep.
You trust in the team to just run it back next year and trust in that team to get over the hump with the new experience that they've acquired. It's really tough to figure it out when you're that close.
It is.
It really is.
It is. So I don't know what they need to do.
Yeah. So we'll see for the Cavs. A little bit, maybe probably of a disappointing season, I'm sure, for the fans, but I'd say still successful somewhat. I mean,
successful, but this has been
probably underwhelming.
A few years
might
now
be the right word. So we'll see what happens next season, but I'm sure they'll be obviously back in the playoffs.
Yeah,
nothing extreme like that.
No, they'll be back. Moving on to the next series in the East, the Celtics and Knicks. The Knicks finally did it. They did. They beat the Celtics. No thanks to Jason Tatum blowing out his Achilles. So he's done. It was very hard to see, and
it was really,
especially how emotional he got leaving the game in a wheelchair.
I feel like, sorry to interrupt you, but I just feel like for any sports fan, like seeing a guy like go down like that and leaving the way he did in a wheelchair and crying, I don't know how you can not feel bad.
Yeah, I know. I agree. But he's out. He had a successful surgery though, which is thank God. Like he is okay. But he's probably, unless it's miraculous, he's not going to be ready to start the year next year. Maybe come back halfway through. We'll see. But the Celtics did force a game 6 with 127-102 victory in game 5. Only to lay an egg at MSG, getting blown out 119-81 and losing the series 4-2. Now the Knicks move on to face the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Final. Also of note, Jaylen Brown was playing on a partially torn meniscus, and he will probably have to have surgery over the offseason as well.
Yeah, he was facing a lot of criticism for the way he performed this series, but now knowing that news makes total sense.
Yeah. He, of course, obviously, since he didn't get out of the games, he tried to play through that injury, and it affected him for sure. But hey, he has a lot of heart, and he's very tough, so I appreciate the effort, but just wasn't good enough. So now a huge question surrounding Boston moving into the offseason. Everybody's talking about what is happening with the roster. Can they afford to keep this starting 5 together? Last year, I distinctly remember being told we're locked in for like 3 or 4 years. There's nothing to worry about.
That was the storyline, right? That's what we all thought. This team is going to compete for championships for at least 3, 4, maybe 5 years.
Yep. And honestly, if we did go back to back, I would probably expect it. But now that we got out in the second round, there are some questions. And we are also in the middle of selling the team, by the way, if you guys don't remember that. We have all this money. Of course, the most of it goes to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Rightfully so. Rightfully so, people. But Al Horford, he's still locked up. Could he retire, though? Because he is he is definitely old. Derek White is locked up. Drew Holiday is locked up. Kristaps Porzingis is locked up. Peyton Pritchard's going to be due. He's the sixth man of the year, and he's only has a year or two left on his rookie deal, so he is due for a new contract. So there are absolutely a lot of questions. At the end of the day, I would hate to see any part of this team go, but I understand it's a business and decisions have to be made. At the end of the day, keep the two J's together. Keep Jalen and Jason together. Please, 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 please keep them together. That's all I want.
Yeah. So if you had to move, let's just say one or two players, who do you think is the best fit to move off the team that you think wouldn't disrupt the chemistry that much and would still keep, most of the core together? Like, who would you pick in your opinion?
That's a really hard question, especially because we fucking extended these guys beyond the next 2 years. So whoever gets traded, these other teams are going to pick up multiple years of contracts. Al Horford might retire, so I'm not going to include him. I don't honestly, I don't know. I guess Porzingis, just because now, not that he hasn't done anything, he's been a very integral part of the team, but he's been the most injury riddled, which is kind of his whole career. So I guess if we got rid of Porzingis, but we just signed him over the offseason. And I was going to say Drew Holiday, but he's arguably one of the best defensive players in the entire league, and I would hate to lose a defensive piece like that, especially since we got him from the Marcus Smart trade, who was the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know. It's really hard. I guess if I had to pick, I'd say Porzingis, but I would love to keep the same guys and run it back. I don't think that's possible. I just want to keep Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, though. Please, for the love of God, don't break them up.
Yeah, and you got to be careful, too, because you don't want to trade a guy whose value is low, and especially if they have multiple years on their deal.
Mm-hmm.
You will not get the return that you think you will in the deal. So we'll see what happens. But if they do decide to trade, let's just say one or two, or even one, do you think that they'll view next year with Tatum maybe out and Jaylen Brown possibly being out if he has to have surgery? Do you think next year they're like, all right, we're just going to let the season play out. We're probably not going to win a championship and just maybe focus on building for the year after?
No, I don't think so. Especially right now, the Joe Mazzulla and his perfect press conferences. That culture that's there, it's win now every single day. It doesn't matter if Tatum and Brown aren't going to be there to start the year. We're trying to win championships every single year. So it's never going to be a wash until we blow up the team, basically.
All right, yeah. So if they do decide to trade, one or two of these guys, there's going to be, they're going to have to bring in, ready players that can fill in now.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have to see these guys that are there to start the year. They're going to have to step up.
Luckily, I will say our farm system is one of the best in the association. We have a lot of people, a lot of players in the G League that could get brought up to the big leagues next year. So we are rife with young talent. So that is something to keep an eye on too, and the potential for trading young talent or just promoting them and getting rid of some guys.
Yeah. So I think the whole thing is with the Celtics, which a lot of the fans I've seen online are panicking, maybe just don't panic.
No, I don't think it's time to panic.
If you guys have all these prospects, you can bring guys up that are on cost controlled deals that could have a huge impact on the team. And I mean, I agree with you. I think breaking up Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum would just be a huge mistake.
Yeah.
I think you're saying at that point, okay, like this era or window is done.
Yeah.
I think that's thrown in the towel. So they should definitely not do that.
I agree.
In my opinion. But yeah. Celtics, a little bit of a disappointing end, but stuff that was out of their control unfortunately happened, and they will not repeat as NBA champions.
That's right.
All right, moving on out west. The Minnesota Timberwolves, and I'd like to reiterate again, Anthony Edwards is a fucking dog. Finish off Golden State in Game 5 and Julius Randle. 112 to 110 to win the series, 4-1, and move on to the Western Conference Final. Steph Curry gets injured. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, pulled his hamstring.
He wanted to be in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Just could not play. And all signs were pointing that he was going to be ready to play for Game 6, at least healthy enough, because a lot of players do play through injury. He said it was very hard watching that from the sideline, not being able to help his team, as any player should feel, and I'm sure they do. So Jimmy Butler signed that 3-year deal, so he's still going to be there 2 years. Draymond Green, I know, still has, I think, 1 year left on his deal, and Steph Curry still has 1 or 2 more years on his deal. So the question is, how many more cracks does Golden State have at winning the championship with this core? Because with the age and everything, that they don't have much time left.
I'd say for the foreseeable future, they still have a year or two, like immediately the next year or two, to still be in it for sure. Steph Curry, he's starting to get up there in age, but he's not showing any signs that he sucks. He's still Steph Curry. He's still fantastic. So
Jimmy Butler's still a very good impact player. Draymond Green still is a monster defensively. May not put up the points like he did, but still huge impact on the court.
Yeah, no, they're still, the next year or two, they're still going to be in contention for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. The Wolves, though, hey, congrats to the Wolves and Anthony Edwards. They deserve it.
Yeah, second straight trip to the the Western Conference final. Yeah. And for the Warriors, they got into the playoffs. They did not look great most of the regular season until they acquired Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
They got in, they had their shot. Unfortunately, it came to a short end. But I think there's room for optimism for next season.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the last game on the Western side of the NBA, Game 5, or last series, I should say, sorry. Game 5 between Oklahoma and Denver sees the Thunder emerge with a 112-105 victory. The Nuggets, though, winning Game 6, 119-107 to force Game 7. Oh, shit. Game 7 in the playoffs. But it was anticlimactic because OKC blew them out 125-93 to win the whole series, and now face the T-Wolves in the next round. The Nuggets, just like last year, they're not that far off. They still have Jokic, MVP. What do they need to do to get back to the championship?
Yeah, 2 straight years in a Game 7 out in the second round after winning the championship in 2023. They don't need to do much. You still have Jokic. He's arguably the best player in the league.
And they fired their coach right before the playoffs, right? So
yeah,
and they still did this.
Yeah, which I thought was wild. Still a weird move at the time. So, but you'll have, I don't know if he's like now the permanent coach or he's still in term, but if he is, then you'll have a full year of him at the helm.
Yep.
So hopefully they'll stabilize the bench, but still, Jamal Murray played really well in these playoffs. Guys like Michael Porter Jr. stepped up.
Aaron Gordon
with depth. Aaron Gordon. I don't think they need to do much. I think they took the number 1 team in the league to 7 games.
Yep.
I mean, I know, obviously they want to win another championship, but I don't view that as a failure.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. They don't really need to do too much. I don't think they're right there. They're right there.
I will say though, I was expecting Game 7 to be a little bit more close. Hyping it up as Game 7, like this is it, the battle of the MVP favorites.
Yeah,
with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. Huge debate. I think this is one of the tightest races, in my opinion, that we have seen
in a long time. Probably
in a while.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, Game 7, biggest, number 1 team in the NBA all season by far.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any shame in losing to them in Game 7. The better team won. I think that's all this was.
Yeah, agreed.
And we'll get to another team later that did not show up in Game 7. It's going to be great.
Yes, we will.
But yeah, the conference finals is set for the playoffs. In basketball, Final Four all comes down to this. A trip to the NBA Finals on the line. Shay, I know I still haven't posted the bracket video, but who are you taking?
Now I'm going to take OKC and the Pacers in the finals.
I'm with you there. The Pacers have become my favorite team to watch in these playoffs. It's not most nights for them. It's not just one guy. They're getting contributions up and down the lineup. They're playing with intensity. They're playing with heart. They might not have the high end star power that some of these other teams have, but man, everyone is contributing on this team.
Yeah, I agree. I think either way, no matter what finals it is, it's going to be good, especially this year with 4 teams left that aren't like some of the staples for every year. So this is going to be pretty good. I'm pretty excited.
I am too, and we're going to see a team win a championship that either has not won it in a long time or has never won it.
Yeah,
the Wolves have never won. The Pacers have never won. The Knicks' last championship was in the 70s, and correct me if I'm wrong, viewers, but I believe the Supersonics won a championship in the 90s, I believe. So either way, long time.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a brand new champion.
Yeah.
Which I think is always nice. Moving on to the PWHL,
the Professional Women's Hockey League.
Shay, you start the face-off.
The Ottawa Charge with 2 straight. Sorry. Game 3, 1-0, and Game 4, 2-1 to win the series against Montreal. Victoire Peak. 3-1. Move on to the PWHL final after missing the playoffs last season. So, and Montreal was the best team. They chose to play Ottawa, so they upset Montreal big time.
That's right. Gutsy effort by Ottawa. And as a Minnesota Frost fan, I'm kind of scared to play against them. Not gonna lie. They have a lot of momentum. They're a very, very good team. So for the second series, segueing into that, the Minnesota Frost, after having a 2-1 series lead,
good.
No, that's not good. Win Game 4 in overtime, 4-3, and defeat the Toronto Scepters for the second consecutive playoffs. 3-1. The Scepters is peak.
Yeah, the peak. Yeah.
OT winner scored by Taylor Heisey, the first overall pick in the first inaugural draft. Let's go Frost. The defending champions will face Ottawa in the second PWHL finals and battle for the Walter Cup. Game 1 today at 7 p.m. Eastern. Let's go, Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah, pretty surprising, the Frost. Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry. I don't like it.
No, I don't either.
Pretty surprising the Frost got back to the finals after their very struggling regular season. But they did it. They got back to the finals, and now they have a chance to win the first 2 championships in PWHL history.
Yeah, that's right. I would just like to remind everyone that the playoff appearance was on the line, and we destroyed the Fleet 8-1.
Peak.
But yeah, that's right. But in reality, there was a way where the Frost and the Fleet could make the playoffs. I really wanted that to happen because I wanted a rematch.
Yeah, so did I, but
I was disappointed.
And next season, 2 new teams to the mix. So we'll see if they do a 16 playoff or a 4-team. We had talked about it. I think it should probably be 6, but
yeah, they wouldn't have an 8-team league where 4 teams make the playoffs. Yeah. There's going to be more opportunity. I'm sure it'll be 6 out of 8 with PWHL Seattle and Vancouver joining the mix, and that could be a rivalry right there. Seattle and Vancouver. They're not that far away from each other.
Wonder what those names would be, though.
Yeah, we'll see if their names are peak or mid.
Yeah.
Frost mid, Fleet peak.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So, yeah, the PWHL finals kick off tonight, and we'll see if Minnesota can repeat as Cup champions or can Ottawa take the trophy for themselves.
As a reminder, best of 5 series. So the first team to win 3 is your champion.
That's right. I'm so excited. All right. Another sport I'm really excited about, as always.
I'll lead off so you can get to the last one.
Yeah. We're saving the best for last here. But starting off, NHL playoffs, continuing the second round. Here we go.
That's right. The Carolina Hurricanes, I'd say kind of surprising that this happened, finished off the Washington Capitals in Game 5, 3-1, and won the series 4-1. I thought it'd be a little closer than that. Moving on, they do move on to the next round, though. The Caps don't need to make any big moves, though. They did have a very successful season. Obviously, Ovechkin, the great chase.
The goal record.
Yeah. Plus, they were, I think, way better than anybody expected them to be.
I know I probably mentioned this before, but last season they were the last team in the league to clinch a playoff spot.
Yeah, exactly.
This year, first in the East, first team to clinch a playoff spot.
Correct. So
what a turnaround.
Huge turnaround. But Ovechkin is going into the final year of his contract. So what does that mean?
So what this means for me is I don't think Washington should really go for it just to give Ovechkin that final shot at the cup. I think they should let the course play out and see where they are. If the trade deadline rolls around and they're in the same spot or relatively the same spot that they were this year, make some moves. I would go for it. Not like mortgage the whole future or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah. Ovechkin, he's won a cup. I'm sure he would want another one.
Well, yeah.
But I think at this point in his career, he wants the team to do what's best for them.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And he's done, everything in hockey.
Yeah.
So he did say he was coming back next year, so he's not going to retire. So if he wants to come back next year, I'm sure the Capitals will find a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
But if he decides to retire, what a career.
Oh, yeah. One of the greatest of all time.
But yeah, the Carolina Hurricanes, I agree. Very surprising. The Canes, they play a very shot suppression style of hockey, and they shoot a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot of high danger quality chances, but they shoot from everywhere and they shoot often and they hit a lot, so they just wear their opponent down.
Yeah. And
once the opponent is wore down, the pucks start going into the net. You start making those mistakes.
That's right.
Not as fast. So I am surprised that the series was lopsided like that, 4-1. I'm not entirely surprised that Carolina won.
No.
But yeah, for the Canes, they move on to the Eastern Conference Final, and they have yet to win a single game in the last 3 appearances. 2009, 2019, and 2023, they did not win a single game in the Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah.
So for them, they need to at least win a game.
Yeah.
but I think Canes fans would be a little bit more appreciative if they won the series and advanced to the final.
Yeah, I would say so.
So we'll see what happens with Washington this offseason, but I don't think they need to change anything. And I still think they're in a really good spot. And they still have a lot of really good young players coming up the system.
Right.
All right. Second series out west. Vegas falls in game 5 to the Oilers 1-0 in overtime. A goaltending duel. And a lot of people do not like defensive, low scoring games. They like all the goals. Personally, for me, I really do enjoy a defensive battle.
Yeah, that's how it is in all sports. A lot of people just don't like an ugly defensive controlled game. But I love them too. I love when the scores are very low and very tight because there's so much
match.
Yeah, there's so much tension. Like just someone has to make one mistake and that's it.
Yeah, like by the second period or third period going still 0-0, I was like, yeah, next goal is going to win this.
Yeah.
Because the team isn't giving up anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't sure of its chances. The OT winner was scored by Edmonton forward Kasperi Kapanen. The Oilers, I believe that was his first goal in like 35 games. What a time for that goal to come.
For sure.
Oilers win the series 4-1. Stuart Skinner, after being one of the worst goalies in the playoffs we had ever seen in NHL history, back-to-back shutouts.
I think he's back.
What the fuck?
I think he's okay.
I love Skinner. Like, I'm glad he found his confidence back, but it's like, man, that consistency is all over the place.
Yeah.
But hey, better late than never. Great time to have back-to-back shutouts against Vegas, who are a top-tier team.
Yeah.
Edmonton moves on to the Western Conference Final. So we still have Florida and Edmonton in the playoffs. Are we going to get that rematch? I think it's pretty destined.
It's looking pretty good. Don't bet against McDavid.
I didn't learn that. So yeah, for the Western Conference Final, defenseman Matthias Ekholm, who's one of their top defensemen, and Calvin Pickard, who's the backup, but he was starting before he got hurt. They will miss the first couple of games in the series, but they've played fantastic without him, so they'll look even better when they come back.
Yeah.
For Vegas, it's weird because they lost in 7 against Dallas last season in the first round. They get out of the first round in, I think, a close series between Minnesota that really could have gone either way. But then they get outed in 5 games in the second round against Edmonton. Is Vegas finally falling out of contention? Are we seeing that decline? Or is it just, they ran into a really good team and they'll be back next year in the playoffs and they're still a top tier contender? Like, what is your opinion on Vegas at this point?
No, I don't think they're falling out of contention. I mean, if you really think about it, I think they're in a very similar boat with the Lightning. They're making the playoffs, but then they get outed early in the playoffs the last few years. So
and they have the talent on the roster.
They have the talent.
Jack Eichel. They have Mark Stone.
Yeah.
Mark Stone was injured most of this series. Yeah. They have a great defense.
Yeah. So I don't think they're out of contention. I just like the Cavaliers in the NBA. Like, they're right there, but a lot of people just maybe they don't know what exactly it is to get over that hump and get back to the finals.
Yeah. Now, knowing Vegas, I'm sure they're going to trade more first round picks.
Yeah, exactly.
And by this point, they're not going to have a first round pick until like 2040.
Yeah.
Who knows? But it's not going to surprise me at all if they find a way to shed salary and go after a big name free agent this offseason.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
That's Vegas.
That is Vegas. But yeah, for Vegas, I kind of agree with you. I don't like, they won their division, so they bounced back Like they made the playoffs as a wild card team the last year. So I don't think they're far off either. I think they might just need to make some small tweaks here and there, and I think they're still a contender. I do
Yeah.
agree with you there.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to the other series in the West, the Dallas Stars and the Winnipeg Jets. The Stars win Game 4, 3-1 to put the Jets on on the brink of elimination. However, the Jets did respond in a very big way with a 4-0 shutout victory. Now, to some very unfortunate news. Mark Shifley's dad. Shifley.
Now
sorry.
I get to correct you.
Yeah, Shifley's dad. Unexpectedly and suddenly passed away.
Yes.
Before Game 6, which, was awful. Obviously, we don't want anyone to go through any amount of loss, no matter what it is, but especially an athlete in a huge playoff series and an elimination game, and your dad just unexpectedly passes away.
If he had stayed home and said, I can't, I have to take this time to grieve, nobody would have been upset.
No.
Nobody expected him to play this game. I can guarantee it.
Yeah, exactly. Instead, he did play, and he would score.
What a noble.
He would score the first goal, which, I mean, you can't even write a better script. Like, holy hell!
You're playing in an elimination game. On the road.
Yep.
On the road. You're away from home with your dad just passing away.
Yeah.
And you score the first goal. You're there. You want to help your team, even through a traumatic event. Like, I could not imagine doing anything like that.
Not at all. Not at all. So, like I said, you couldn't write a better script. Like that's unbelievable. However, the Stars would tie it up, and it would go to overtime, tied 1-1 on a goal from Dallas' Sam Steele. Shifley takes a tripping penalty, though.
Now, I do want to point out the tripping penalty. Sam Steele had a breakaway after tying the game late in the third.
Yeah.
You take that penalty because it's out of desperation.
Mm-hmm.
Your team is one goal away from going home. 17 seconds left in the third. If that guy breaks from you and scores that goal, your season's over.
Yep.
So I would argue that he had to take that penalty.
Oh, yeah. There was nothing else he could do.
He gave his team at least the shot of killing off that penalty.
Correct. Nothing else he could do. He made the right decision.
Yeah.
So he got the tripping penalty, and Thomas Harley would then hit the game-winning goal for Dallas to win the game in overtime 2-1 and the series 4-2. Obviously, feel pretty bad for Mark, not only just his situation, but then taking the penalty that he had no choice to. That led to Dallas winning the game and the series. The handshake line after the game was extremely emotional. Of course. So it was just an emotional game and emotional series overall. The Jets, once again, don't get to the promised land. Is this season a success for the Jets? President's Trophy winners, which is obviously really cool, but the curse still lives on. Curse is not broken. So what is it? Do you think this is a successful season?
It's really hard to say. The Winnipeg Jets, last year they were top 3, or no, they were, I think, a wild card. They were either wild card or top 3, not the winner of their division. But they get just destroyed by Colorado in 5 games. They won the first game, and then they just got absolutely rocked. That series was not close at all. Losing 5. A lot of questions. They stick with their core. They sign them long term. They signed Hellebuck, Scheifele, still got the band together. They come into this season. Connor Hellebuck's playing out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Vezina, most likely the Vezina winner. They cruise to the President's Trophy. But here's the thing. You have your playoff spot clinched so early. It's tricky because teams that are fighting for those wild card spots, they are playing must-win games in the regular season, like the last month.
Yeah.
Like 10, 12, 15 games down the stretch, it's must-win every night. When you're a top-tier team that has that spot already clinched, it's tricky to like have that kind of motivation because you already know that you're in. I'm not saying that players don't try, but it can be a little bit more difficult for maybe a coach to get the team motivated to play at their best every single night.
Right.
That makes sense. Going into the playoffs, President's Trophy winners, they draw St. Louis. Well, St. Louis won 14 games in a row, fought all season for that playoff spot. They took them to 7 games in double overtime. The Jets win. And gutsy win. They tied it 3-1 with 2 minutes left in the game, one in overtime. Was great. And Dallas is a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
Taking them to 6 games is not bad at all.
No.
But I just can't help feeling underwhelmed by the Jets losing in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, them losing in the playoffs and not getting to the finals is a consistent theme. And I don't think this is a success. You won the President's Trophy.
I hate to say it too. But
yeah, well, yeah. You won the
don't-
President's
yeah,
Trophy.
I don't think it's a success.
No, you won the President's Trophy. Cool. Who the fuck cares? You didn't get to the finals. You didn't win the cup. So I think there are fans. I mean, right now it's probably a little tricky with Mark's dad passing and obviously all that emotion. But with that removed, I would say the fans are probably pretty disappointed.
I would have to agree. I mean, Connor Hellebuck, like there was this whole narrative that he doesn't show up in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was good at home. On the road, he was horrible.
Yeah.
Like not even below average or anything, horrible.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just like I can't help like knowing that like that this team probably had more. Like
Mm-hmm.
that they had to have that extra gear and it just wasn't there.
Yeah, agreed. But that's the playoffs. Every year there's going to be teams that get eliminated and either they're right there, they don't need to do anything, or you're just like, what the fuck can we do?
Or there's really good teams like Dallas and Colorado.
Yeah.
Like those were 2 of the top teams in the league.
Yeah.
And we knew that, oh man, one of these teams is going home early.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the Jets do. They don't have a lot of like unrestricted free agents, so they're pretty much running it back next year. But I think they didn't really go for it at the trade deadline. I think next year they need to go for it.
Yeah, if
they need to get a big name.
If they're off to a good start come trade deadline and they're in a similar position to this year, I think they probably will.
Yeah, they need to trade, maybe a first round or a couple first round picks, get someone really big on the market.
Yeah.
Maybe there just wasn't much available. And I know it was a really high seller's market. So
yeah,
teams were paying a lot. But yeah, I think next year they really, really need to just go for it if they're in this position.
Yeah.
All right. It's time. Everyone grab your popcorn.
The final series.
This is going to be just pure theater. So, Toronto and Florida. Toronto led the series 2-0. At home. Won both games at home.
Yep.
Florida, they're the defending champions. They know how to win. They win. They're both at home to tie the series 2-2. Okay.
Yep.
Like, all right, yeah.
It's
like
a series.
we're still in a good position. It's a best of 3. Whoever wins the next 2 games moves on.
Mhm.
And yeah, like we kind of expected Florida to tie the series. Well, in game 5 at home, Toronto had home ice in this series. They just drop it. Lose 6-1. 6-1 at home.
Pretty bad.
Now,
But it's not over.
it's not over, right?
Not over.
Florida leads the series 3-2. You're on the road. I was honestly expecting to lose this game. But the Leafs, the way they responded, and we'll talk about it later, but this does not make me feel any better about what happened. The Leafs respond on the road in Florida in a must-win game. They're on the brink of elimination with a 2-0 shutout. They shut out the defending Stanley Cup champions in their own barn.
Yep.
Played their best game that they had all season. Solved the forecheck. Got pucks on the boards. Won the puck battles. Got the goals. Didn't allow nothing. Penalty kill was amazing. Defense was amazing. Goaltending was amazing. Everything was great. They look like they figured the Panthers out. They're heading to game 7 at home. Win or go home. You lose this game, you're done.
Game 7.
With all the noise about their previous failures, never winning a series clinching game in the Matthews era, all of this is your shot. This is your opportunity to finally put all those narratives to bed. You just won on the road against the defending Stanley Cup champions, and you're at home in a game 7 that you have to win. This is it.
The time is now.
And the Leafs get destroyed 6-1. The exact same score that they lost in game 5, they lost in game 7.
Yeah.
They lose the series in 7 games. Where have we heard that before? I don't know. Maybe like the last 6-7 years. Like, Panthers move on to the Eastern Conference Final, where they will face the Carolina Hurricanes for a shot at repeating as Stanley Cup champions.
I think that'll be a good series too.
Yeah. Now, if Toronto had lost this game 2-1, double overtime, I've been like, you know what? They tried their best. They left it all on the ice.
Yep.
They tried so hard. They played a great game, but just the better team won.
True.
But no.
That's not how it happened.
They lose by 5 goals. And it's not just that they lost this game, it's how they lost.
At home. Game 7.
At home. In front of all these fans, like 20,000 fans in the stadium and thousands more outside watching in the street.
Yep.
And I'm going to go through this game because this is just sad. So, through the first 6.5 minutes of the first period, the shot attempts, not the shots on net, just shot attempts. 21-0 for the Panthers.
Okay.
Let that sink in.
Okay.
You're at home in a game 7 that you have to win to keep your season alive, and the Panthers, you let the Panthers come out flying out of the gate, and they get the first 21 shot attempts on net.
Okay.
Now, okay, they escaped the first period with a 0-0 tie. Okay, like, all right, hey,
let's make adjustments in the intermission.
Listen, Florida came flying out of the gate.
Yeah.
We didn't start on time, but like we
got through
settled it down.
We got through.
The shots were, I think, 8-7 by that point at the end of the first. I'm like, okay, like it wasn't a great start, but you're fine.
Yeah.
All you need is the first goal.
That's right.
Florida scores 3 goals in the second period.
Okay.
In 7 minutes. To take a 3-0 lead going into the third period. Game's already over. that point, I said, yeah, Leafs lose. There is absolutely no way in hell that the Florida Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champions, would allow 3 goals in a Game 7 in one period. No chance.
But they did. Well, the Leafs did.
Yeah, no chance. The shots through the second period, after evening up the shots, escaping the first, maybe being a little bit lucky on great saves from Joseph Woll, their goaltender, 0-0. They got outshot in the second period 18-5. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't think their offense showed up.
Mitch Marner was trying to get the bench fired up. And I know Leafs fans are going to be like, oh, well, he didn't show up either. I mean, he was at least trying to get the guys some sort of life. Who else was?
No one.
Craig Berube, their coach. Hey, let's go, guys. Like, there's still plenty of time. Like, yeah, you're down 3-0, but you still got 20 minutes left in the game. Like, get a gear, find something. Like, do you want to win? Do you want to be here? Like, they might as well just have forfeited that game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. I hate the Leafs. I'm a Lightning fan. You're a Bruins fan.
Yeah.
We all hate the Leafs. And I was watching this game and I was pissed. I'm like, how can a team just give up like this with all that talent? How?
And all that history.
Every fan in that building deserves to sit down with those players one-on-one and have an explanation for what they saw. Now, the fans were already booing the Leafs off the ice at the end of the second. They got booed off the ice at home in a must-win Game 7. Now, Max Domi scores 2 minutes and 7 seconds into the third. Okay? 3-1. There's still plenty of time. You have 18 minutes of hockey
There's that
left.
one goal we need.
Maybe you can finally turn around. Maybe that's that spark that you need. And the way I saw the goal, it was kind of a fluky goal. It just went right under Bobrovsky's pad. I don't know if it changed direction or anything, but okay. That's what you needed. Now, you build off of this. Now, you find a way. Nope. 20 seconds later. 20 seconds later. Now, I'll put this goal on Joseph Woll because it was a pretty soft tipping goal. You have to save that. He was cheating off the post. He had his arm hanging out, goes right under, the pad and the elbow. It was in close, yeah, but I think you need a save there. But that's like the only goal I would really blame on him, and like he might have been one of the only players that showed up to that game. So yeah, 4-1 Panthers. And then Sam Reinhart off face-off makes it 5-1. At this point, there's 10 minutes left in the game. The building empties.
Yep.
These fans paid anywhere from $500 to $5,000 to watch this game.
Yeah.
And they left with 10 minutes left in the third period. At home.
Not a good time.
At home.
Not a good time.
At this point, jerseys are being thrown on the ice, trash, beer, all being thrown on the ice. And I do have to say, if you throw your jersey on the ice while the team is playing, you should be banned.
I think anything, because
that is very dangerous.
It's dangerous and disrespectful.
Yeah.
Understand the frustration. Totally understand the frustration. But we shouldn't be throwing anything on the ice, especially in the middle of live action.
Yeah, exactly. And then just to top it all off, who else but Brad Marchand puts it away? Like, it wasn't even close with the empty net goal to make it 6-1. Final score.
Hell yeah.
A reminder, this is a must-win home Game 7, and the Leafs lose 6-1.
A reminder that Brad Marchand still owns the Leafs.
Yep. Fans continue to boo. They came out with their, fan salute for the end of the season. Booed. Nobody cared. They also like poured out of the streets when the building was empty. Yeah, it was kind of sad. Not gonna lie, like for years I've been kind of laughing at the Leafs because I thought it was funny, but honestly, watching this game, that was kind of sad. I felt bad, not for the players, for the fans. I kind of felt bad.
I don't feel bad.
Now we don't need to look at any of the Leafs history because that's been done to death.
Well, yeah,
like
every single year.
But if you're not a hockey fan, the only thing you need to look up to know how pathetic the Leafs were in that game is the score.
Yeah,
you see that it's Game 7 and home team loses 6-1. Yeah, that's all you need to know.
Exactly.
But let's take a look at some stats, just to maybe drive the knife a little further. The core four / the Leafs are now 0-7 in winner-take-all games. Since 2019, they never have scored more than one goal in a series-clinching game.
Wow.
Been shut out twice. Yeah. The Leafs tie the NHL record for widest margin of defeat in a home Game 7 in NHL history. They twice have won their division, and this year they might have had their best team from top to bottom.
Right.
They've done everything. They've changed the president. They've changed coaches.
Mm-hmm.
They've changed the defense. They've changed the goaltending. They've changed the depth. There's a fourth liner, Steven Lorentz. He might have been their best forward. And he makes $2 million a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've changed everything. They've changed GM. I mean, the only thing left to change is your fandom.
Yeah.
But aside from that, what has remained the same throughout all these years of playoff failure?
Brad Marchand.
Yeah. But also the core four.
Yeah.
It is time to blow this up.
It's kind of what it's looking like.
Marner is an unrestricted free agent. John Tavares is an unrestricted free agent. I think Marner's gone. I don't think you re-sign him. He's going to want a big money contract, like maybe 12 and a half, $13 million.
Yeah.
If Tavares wants to come back on like a cheaper cap hit than the $11 million he's making, I don't see a reason why you can't bring him back. But yeah, this doesn't work. We've been running the same team back for years, and it's the same shit every single year.
It's not working.
I think in 2021, when they blew that 3-1 series lead against Montreal, a team that won less than half of their games in the regular season, that was the COVID season, so everything was kind of messed up.
Yeah.
I think that was the year that they should have blown it up. I think that raised all the red flags. But they kept running it back.
Yeah.
And where are we? The same
thing.
Same result. It's literally insanity. If they re-sign Marner and run back the same team, I don't know how you continue being a fan of this team.
Yeah. That's...
Now, Brad Marchand, we all know he owns the Leafs. But yeah, you might as well just give him majority ownership.
Yep.
Marchand is the only player in NHL history to win 5 Game 7s against one franchise.
It's pretty great.
He holds second all-time in playoff points scored against Toronto, only behind Gordie Howe. Now, mind you, Gordie Howe had a career that spanned 5 decades, and most of that when there was only 6 teams in the league. So Toronto and Detroit played against each other a lot. Brad Marchand holds second all-time when there was 30 teams in the league. And he holds second all-time in playoff points.
Didn't we say it last week where the Leafs were excited that Marchand wasn't going to be on the Bruins anymore and they weren't going to play the Bruins in the playoffs? But wait, we're seeing Marchand in the second round still.
Yeah. So yeah, I put on my notes. Marchand owns the Leafs.
He does.
I mean, he has for years.
Oh yeah.
But
now it solidifies it because he's on a different team and still beat him.
He had 3 points in that game 7, by the way.
Yep.
And even though the Boston Bruins missed the playoffs, they're still winning against the Leafs because since Florida reached the Eastern Conference Final, Marchand has played a huge role. That 2027 second that Florida traded for him becomes a 2027 first.
Yep.
So even though the Bruins missed the playoffs, they're still winning against the Leafs.
Agreed.
And I put Leafs are the most pathetic franchise in all sports. I don't think there's a debate.
It's pretty bad. It is pretty bad.
And I put this team will never win anything ever. Because it really seemed like that. You have all that talent and they just disappear in the biggest moments.
Yep.
Post-game interview, Austin Matthews, the only thing he had to say, or the highlight was, there were too many passengers on this team. That's your captain. That's a guy that scored 60 goals twice in his career. And I know this season he was playing through injury.
Yeah.
Well, all season. Like, I get that. But, like, did you say anything in the locker room? Like, you're supposed to be the captain.
Yeah, that's not a response that you should be hearing from your leaders.
And now we know it's not the coach.
Yeah.
They changed the coach. It's the same result. Craig Berube, when he was in St. Louis, he took a team that was at the bottom of the league into the playoffs, and they won the cup.
Yeah.
And guess what? They won 2 Game 7s on the road to the cup, including in the final against the Bruins.
Yep.
So we know it's not the coach. I mean, St. Louis, they're a team that doesn't have, I would say, superstars like Toronto has.
No.
Nobody expected them to make the playoffs. They found a way. They took the President's Trophy winners to double overtime in Game 7. Toronto won their division.
Yeah.
Against Florida, against Tampa.
Yeah.
And they go home in Game 7 after shutting them out on the road, and they do that. This team is pathetic. This team is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
They're just cursed. That's what it is. They're cursed. I don't know what it takes for them to break it, but
I don't know what you do. Like, if I was the owner of this team, I would tear down the arena, scorch the earth on where it stands, and then sell the team. Oh, I don't know. I don't know how you get this team over the hump. Let's say 5 years old, you probably start forming memories and like starting to remember things.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So those kids that remember their team winning the cup in 67, yeah, they are 67 years old. They've had kids, they've had grandkids.
Yeah.
And they've never seen their team, let alone win a cup, but they've never even been to the cup final.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty bad.
And I apologize, Cubs fans, because, Cubs...
a lot longer.
A lot longer. But yeah, I don't know what you do with this team. I really thought like this was the year. They had the best defensive core that they ever had. They had their great forward core. They had a great depth. They had a great tandem in net. Everything was going right for them. I mean, the first round, if Ottawa had forced that Game 7, I think the Leafs would have lost. I think they would have blown a 3-0 series lead for the fifth time in NHL history if it had gone 7 games. I really do believe that.
I think I agree with you. Yeah.
They would have been at home.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I don't know. But yeah, we saved the best for last. And that is going to do it for this podcast. Good night, Leafs fans. Good night. Steve Dangle, shout out. I'm so sorry that you're a fan of this team because I don't know how you just have not gone completely insane.
Anyway, that will do it for the episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening and staying with us through the entire thing. Stay excited because the next round of the playoffs for NBA, NPWHL, and the NHL are on. It's the finals in the PWHL, and it is the conference finals in the NBA and the NHL. Again, this weekend, racing weekend, Sunday, Crown Jewel Sunday, F1, IndyCar, and NASCAR. So pay attention to that. And hey, all you hell divers out there,
Super Earth.
they're invading Super Earth right now. You need, after you listen to this episode, you need to get on Super Earth and defend democracy.
That's right, which we will be doing.
So thanks for listening. Subscribe again. Any color. YouTube, get day early access, but Spotify and everywhere else, as per usual. We love you so much. But just come to YouTube, please.
Yeah, we also post videos. If I ever get them finished.
Oh my god. Also, there's been a lot of severe weather the last few days or last week in the Midwest and now moving over towards the east. A lot of damaging tornadoes and people have lost lives. So we are with you. We send our thoughts and condolences, and we, of course, here in Florida, know a thing or two about severe weather. So please, everyone, just stay safe, and we hope to have you listen to us next week.
That's right. Stay safe, everyone. There's 3 things that are certain in life: death, taxes, and the Leafs losing in 7. Good night, everyone. But we will see you in the next one. Thanks, everyone.